everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Health Movement Podcast. I'm Derek, your host. I am a certified personal trainer and a teacher of over 20 years. The guest we have with us today is incredible, and I have to admit I'm a little bit nervous because I've been excited to have her on for months. But before I introduce her, hop over to the YouTube channel, Health Movement Podcast on YouTube. Give us a follow there, or you can follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast. And as always, we are not doctors. So before you begin any new programming, change your diet or anything like that, please consult with your physician. All right, now that that's all out of the way, with me today is Dalyce Radtke, who is a 61-year-old mother of 7, a fitness coach, to help women look and feel their best as they journey through their menopausal years with simple at-home workouts. Welcome, Dalyce. I appreciate you joining us.
Hi, Derek. I'll take that nervous as a compliment.
Oh, 100% is a compliment.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Well,
Uh,
thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here.
all right. Well, reading up, it seems like fitness has been a huge part of your life since your 20s. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, for a long, let's just put it this way, a long time. I'm 61, so for quite a few years, yes.
And what got you started in your 20s? What was the motivation there?
I think it just rolled over from my younger years. I was always active in school with dance and cheerleading, and I just always felt my best moving and with exercise and those Jane Fonda years, hit.
Yep.
And I was one of those women that was into the aerobics and the Jane Fonda movement. So just all of that. It's just, I loved it. I always felt better moving and yeah, and just progressed
And
from
when
there.
you got started, I know there's a like this mindset that I've heard from different women I've worked with that they don't want to do resistance training because they're worried about getting bulky and that whole stigma along with it. When you got started, was that in your mind? Is that something you were worried about, or did you just kind of jump right in to the whole resistance training thing?
I think maybe initially a little bit you think of, even back then, women weren't really, working out with weights.
No,
The only women that you saw working out with weights were really bulky. They looked like bodybuilders.
it's true.
So,
It's
so
true.
so I think that's what women they think of, especially women my age. They think of women back in the day was like that were big and bulky. But
Yeah.
that only happens obviously if you're taking testosterone and extra things that you shouldn't be putting in your body. You're not going to get big and bulky. The only reason women tend to look big and bulky is they don't wait long enough when they're building muscle to actually shed the body fat. So if you're not shedding the body fat and you're building muscle, you're going to look a little bit bigger until you lose a little bit extra body fat.
That's true. That's a
Yeah.
good point. And thinking back, I remember I'm 46, so I do remember that era, and it was all the magazines were these giant muscular men, which guys were like, "Oh, I want to look like that." And you do a few calf raises and curls, and you're wondering what happened. Like, why didn't it work?
Right.
Um, so yeah, I think that's a good thing for people to understand is it's not unless you're eating 10,000 calories a day or doing certain supplements, you're
It's
not.
it's 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 not going to happen. Yeah, I think so that's one of the biggest roadblocks for I think for a lot of people, not just women, is that they don't have enough patience to wait long
Yes.
enough. You probably know that, Derek, to see the results. They give it 2 or 3 months, and they're like, "Well, I don't really see that much of a difference," and then they stop. They might put on some muscle in the 3 months, but they're not shedding the body fat, and they're like, "Well, I'm getting bulky. My jeans are getting tight on me," and then they quit. I see that a lot with women. I used to teach a lot of spinning classes, and inevitably they would do spinning and they leave and they later in the day they put their pants on and go, I feel like my legs are getting bigger, because you've got that blood pumping and your muscle pumping and it is a little bit tighter. And they would get discouraged because they feel like, gosh, I'm building so much muscle. I feel like I'm just getting big and fat. And
And
you're really not, you're really not.
you're not. I think a lot of people are tied to that number on a scale too, where they really, that's their end goal is some random arbitrary number that
Right.
I mean, after you've been exercising for a long period of time, you know where you feel best, and that's based on years of trial and error and everything like that. So I think initially when people get started on trying to lose some weight, if they're carrying too much body fat, it's a number as opposed to a feeling or mobility and everything else that I've seen you talk about.
Exactly. Exactly.
So in your 20s, that's when you started. When did this really become a thing for you because you've got quite a reputation and a following, and obviously you're very good at what you do. When did this really catch on? You're like, oh wow, this is turning into something.
You've probably heard this from a lot of other people during COVID, really.
Oh, nice.
I have a son and a daughter-in-law that are really big and popular on Instagram that are both in the fitness field. And I was doing workouts at home because I was training people at home in my own studio at home. And then obviously everything shut down.
Yep.
And so I just kind of jumped on the bandwagon. I was just posting a few workouts here and there online, mainly on TikTok. And I wasn't even on TikTok. Actually, they said, "Mom, you need to get on TikTok." And I was like, "Okay, okay, fine," because I'm really not that techy. Okay, I'll try it for
Yep.
fun. And it just kind of took off. It's like I just had a large following really quick. And I think realistically, that's probably like what, 4 or 5 years ago now. I don't think there was a lot of women my age on TikTok really that were posting fitness things. It was a lot of young
No, I
people.
don't think so either.
And that's why I think it got pushed out to a large crowd. It was just like, wow, there's someone older that's doing workouts too. And so it
Yeah.
kind of caught on. And then now I've just got a larger following on Instagram. I'm more active on Instagram because I can interact with people on Instagram. I like answering questions and helping people firsthand as opposed to TikTok. I feel like they just watch the video and they don't really ask questions.
Yeah, no, I
So,
was shocked when I first reached out to you. You responded right away, and I'm just like, wow, that's pretty impressive, which I imagine
yeah.
helps with retention and
Well,
people
yeah.
enjoying your
I
stuff.
mean, I honestly don't do it for the retention. I honestly love helping people. So when I have a woman that texts me, could be in a comment or a DM, I feel for them. Like they ask like really detailed questions, could be short or long. It's like, gosh, I wish I had the time to help every single person,
Yes.
because I really do feel for them, and it doesn't have to be as complicated as they make it. That's why I actually started my online training platform, my coaching platform, is because I can reach more women at once. Now I can work with women all over the world and I can help them one on one. And that's what I do throughout the day. It's like I'm literally sitting here and I'm helping women with their programs, and they send me videos of how they're performing their exercises and I can answer their questions. I love that part of it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure you've had some clients too that a lot of clients that you've helped with the transformation, and that makes you feel good when you see somebody successful and you're able to help them get over whatever hurdle it was or whatever, whatever they needed in order to get on that
It
path.
is so rewarding, especially women that are older that feel like was too late. It's like I hit a certain age. I mean, you hear that all the time, and I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I was going to be able to do the things I used to do, or just simple things like balance or mobility. I can lift my arms above my shoulders, just little things like that that I think, slowly over the years as we get older, you've got to work more at it. And
Yeah,
some people,
absolutely.
so a lot of people don't know what to do. And so
And
once they implement this into their daily life, it helps.
I think when you say too, like as you get older, you lose it, but I think a lot of people stop using it. When you think back to when you're a kid, and it's a little different today, but I know growing up, it was like, all right, go outside, hop on your bike. And we rode bikes for 8 hours a day. Like that was growing up.
That's
And
so true, Derek. That is so true. Just because you're aging, yes, we're all aging. Just because you're getting older doesn't mean you have to lose everything.
no, you just keep doing the
You
stuff you
keep doing
enjoy
it.
and your body will adjust and work.
I mean, you can
Um,
see people on Instagram all the time. I mean, I see 80, 90-year-olds. I mean, my mom is one of them, but I've seen like 90-year-olds doing pull-ups or hanging, like it's like it is doable. And yes, you might not be as strong or as mobile, but it doesn't have to mean you have to completely lose it. You just have to
no,
keep doing it.
it's either you cash it in and you live a life on the couch and then, it's 75, you're in the retirement home and can barely move.
Right.
Or like your mom, who shout out to her,
Yeah.
91 or 92,
She
92,
actually just turned 93.
93. Wow.
Yes.
Well, tell her we said happy birthday.
I will. She just had a birthday a few weeks ago. Yeah.
She does not act like a 93-year-old in any way.
No, and I mean, that's another, and that can take you a whole nother conversation. It's like a mindset, like I think anything as far as fitness and, there's so many people that hit a certain number and their mind is like, okay, I'm 50 now. I can't, just because I'm 50, I
Yeah.
can't do this. Or and back in the day I could do that. No, it's not. It's a mindset. If you do little things every day and have the mindset of, I want to do it, I want to keep it, or I want to work out or get it back, you can do it. You can do it. It's just how you have to have that will.
So what are some things people can start doing if they've hit that 50, 55 year and they've just not done anything for a couple decades maybe? What's an easy way for them to ease into it? Because you can't start off full speed like you did in your 30s and expect it to work without getting hurt.
No, no. Just simple things like, and there's a lot of people that can't squat. You don't have to be able to do a squat, but you should be able to do a squat. So simple things, just sitting on your chair when you're watching TV and sitting up and down. Like even assisted, like if you're sitting on the couch or a chair, sit up and down, up and down, up and down till you get to a point where you don't have to use your hands to sit up and down. Start with things that are assisted, holding onto a counter, doing a squat, holding onto a counter to do a push up. You don't have to take it all the way down to the floor. And I do a lot of exercises like that on my Instagram page. And I prescribe a lot of exercises like that for women of all ages. I have women in their 40s that can't take it down on the floor and do push ups. They start off on a counter, and they progress.
I
They
think
think
that
if they
you
can only do
accept,
it on the counter, they just give up.
well, I think that's what happens too, is they expect, like you said, you got to be patient. They expect these results immediately. But the goal isn't I want to be here in 6 months. It's like, all right, I want to be like your mom at 93 years old, still active as can be.
Right.
She set a heck of a bar for you,
Yeah,
Dallas. Like
no,
you
I know.
got
I trust me. I know. I've got that. I see that every day. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm keeping up to my mom.
I
Yeah.
do. I talk about my mom every now on here too. She's 75 and she bikes 30 miles at a time or plays pickleball or goes skiing and every so
That's amazing. See
yeah,
that's so amazing because she just keeps doing it. And it's my mom's motto. If you don't use it, you will lose it.
yeah,
And that's why she gets up every day and does something. Because she knows if she sits, like when she lives in Canada, so when I'm there visiting her, there's many times where she's sitting on the couch and she gets up. She never sits for a long period. She'll get up and move around and get up and move around. I'm like, Mom, can't you sit down and relax? And she says, No, because if I don't, it's her mind. She said, if I sit for a certain amount of time, she goes, I won't get up. Like, and she's dead serious. She goes, I won't get up. I have to keep moving. I know if I don't keep going to the gym, if I stop, my body will shut down and I will stop moving. And I want to keep living. So, yeah.
yeah. That's there was a quote, it was an Oscar Wilde quote that I'm going to butcher. But it was most people are just simply existing instead of actually living. Um, which it sounds exactly like something your mother embodies there.
It's so true. And I mean, the human body, and Derek, is so amazing. We have a body that's meant to do so many things. And we could be doing those things. It's just, once again, you have to keep moving, and keep doing things intentionally. You have intentionally keep moving.
How, so you started or you've been working out since your 20s. Um, And I imagine your goals shift every however many years or decades or whatever it is. You definitely like nobody has the same goal as a 20-year-old that they do as a 40 or a
Right.
60 or an 80-year-old. Have you
Yeah.
noticed a big shift in your goals, or do you kind of take the same routine and just adjust it? Or not the same routine, but the same mindset
Yeah.
and just look at different activities or different things to do?
Yeah, my workouts and my goals have shifted over the years. I'd say even more the last probably 10 years. When I was younger, like a lot of women, I think my only goal was to just be as skinny as I could. I think everyone was like, be as skinny as you can and eat as few calories and all the sugar-free, fat-free foods that were all on the market back then. It was like, if it's fat-free and sugar-free, it doesn't count.
Yeah.
And I was, I wasn't really focused on like, I thought I was eating really healthy, but I really probably wasn't. But it was more of a calories, like restrict my calories, do as much cardio as I can, and burn as many calories to be as skinny as I can to fit in the smallest jeans. That was my mindset. Um, but then once I started having children, through my first pregnancy, it was being more mindful of what am I really putting in my body and what really is a healthy weight. And gaining weight when you're pregnant, you want a little bit of extra body fat to be healthy, which was a different like mind shift for me, and something I had to get used to. But through each pregnancy, I stayed with it. Kept a routine physically, and I just was more mindful of the foods that I was eating. So I think it was through pregnancy was being more healthy and doing exercises to keep me mobile and strong for a delivery and for taking care of children. And then, once now I've got all these kids, and now as I'm aging, hitting menopause. and knowing that your hormones are going down and you don't have as much testosterone, you have to work a little bit harder, and sometimes you have to eat a little bit, a little bit less. You can't, eat as many calories freely as you did when you were younger. And you have to make every calorie count. So the calories you're putting in your body, you want to be really, you know, healthy.
Yes.
And so, and my focus more went more from being skinny to being strong and healthy and building muscle. So I know now that muscle is the key to everything. And so I don't focus, I don't, I know really within a range of how many calories I eat a day, but I don't really count calories. I focus on protein as really in fiber every day in my mind. I'm like, okay, is there protein? Am I getting fiber? So I'm more intentional with building muscle and focusing on eating protein as opposed to being skinny and just counting calories.
I think that's huge in the talking about healthy foods and all that sort of thing. And a lot of people, and it's tough because it's the way food's advertised. And you look at a box of Cheerios and it says heart healthy right on it. But if that's your breakfast, you're getting no protein and it's burning through your system immediately. So then you're hungry again and it starts the day off wrong.
Right.
Um, are there certain breakfasts or things that you think people should eat to start the day that you prescribe, not prescribe, but you talk to your clients about?
Yeah, there's, it's funny. I have a lot of women that don't like eating breakfast, and I never tell them you have to eat breakfast, start the day with breakfast. I do recommend that it's the best way to start the day probably is with a definitely healthy with a breakfast, so that you're not hungry by the time it hits 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, but I always suggest that have a protein and have a healthy carb so you have energy, and it doesn't have to be big, but just something to start the day that fills you up. That's why you need the protein and a healthy fat that fills you up and it's going to give you energy to last until the next time you eat.
I think that's huge. I've recently started steak and eggs with avocado and blueberries and a little bit of hot
Oh my
sauce
gosh.
on the eggs.
It's so funny you just said that's a breakfast of champions right there.
I appreciate you saying that. It honestly, I'm not hungry throughout the rest of the day, and I try to. Yeah, my kids' sports schedule is crazy. So there's some nights the games go till like 8:30 is by the time you get home.
Yeah.
Sometimes later, and I don't want to eat dinner there. So I started just putting all my food from like 6 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon, and I'm getting the calories I want. And so my intermittent fasting is the late at the in the morning, and I kind of stop eating and I'm not hungry, work out in a fasted state, and then I get home and I'm psyched for breakfast. But I never get to the point where I'm starving because it's
Right.
200 grams of protein in the day. Got to make sure I get around that, and the rest of it's mostly healthy. I do, I like to have like not good food, but I like a treat every now and then. But
Right.
that's
Yeah,
but it
you have to do that to make it sustainable, right? You can't it doesn't have to be all or nothing where it's like you can only eat healthy and never have a treat. It's like I do like 80/20. It's like
yep
80% of the time I'm really mindful about what I put in my mouth. Like I really think about it. And the other 20% I'm like, I mean, it's so hard, Derek, and it's so hard to like eat something that's, you know, a treat that doesn't have a chemical or a food coloring or
yeah
unhealthy fat or a seed oil, something that's not good for you. So I'm like, you know what? It's so stressful to think about food nowadays in the US. That it's like 20% I just eat for taste. And it's like, this is a treat. It tastes good. I'm treating
yeah.
myself. And the other 80%, I'm very mindful.
Yeah, and as long as you're consistent with that and it doesn't turn into, 80/20 the other way,
100%.
um, then you're good to go. And I think I want to say I'm going to mess the state up. I just saw it today, West Virginia perhaps, just banned a whole bunch of like red dye 30 and 40 and all those dyes from their foods. So
Good.
all the major food companies are going to have to pull those out and go to more of a European style
Yeah.
ingredient list, which
Yeah, I sure wish they would. It's so hard nowadays. I mean, you have kids, I have kids. It's like, I compare it to what they ate, my older kids ate when they were younger, and the cereals and the foods were so different than they are now. It's like it is
yeah.
so difficult to go to the store and buy foods that don't have something in it. And you
Yes.
think it's healthy and you go, well, this is healthy, and then you read it, and you go, oh my gosh. Like it's healthy until you get to, oh, there's a seed oil or something in it. It's like
Yeah.
there's always one thing.
And then there's even like the other one where it's like dried fruits and stuff where people are like, "Oh, it's fruit, it's great." But then you look at how much added sugar and everything gets put into
Yeah.
that, and you're eating 120 grams of sugar in one of the packages, and
Yeah.
you're trying to do the right thing, and you're like, oh, this is better than a candy bar, but probably it probably isn't.
No,
Um,
it takes some work. It really does. I mean, I just think to keep it simple is to just, like they say, stay in the perimeter of the grocery store. Like when you're
yes.
shopping, it's like go to the fruits and the vegetables and the meats and the whole grains, and like anything in the middle is usually probably not the best if it's in a package.
Just want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen. We'll get back to the show in just a second. But before we do, if you're enjoying the content, please follow us on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment your favorite part so far. Same thing on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave a review and give us a follow. Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm surprised I didn't get an email from one of my students' parents, but I teach 10 and 11-year-olds.
Oh,
And I was looking one day at all the snacks they would bring in, and some people are very healthy, but there's a wide variety, wide range that they're not great. And so I put on a video I saw about where they get the red dye for certain candies and things like that, where it's like crushed up bugs, and
right.
then they pull the dye from the carcasses, and they did not they were grossed out a little bit, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting an email, but it's something they should
Did,
know.
you didn't get an email?
Not one
That's
single
good.
email.
That's
I
good.
was shocked. I wasn't trying to push anything. I was just
Right.
like, "Oh, I saw something that's cool." And
But
um,
if it's a fact, that's okay.
it is a
Fact.
fact. It
Yeah.
is a fact. And I even had a student come to me at the end of the day, like, Mr. O, my stomach really hurts. And I'm like, I saw what you ate today. I'm like, that's why it hurts. And then they came back a couple days later and like, Mr. O, I'm trying. Look what I brought today. And it was like, not perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect, but there were fruits and there were some
Right.
vegetables and there's some other stuff. And I asked them at the end of the day, and they were like, I feel so good. Like, all
Oh,
right,
that's great. That's great.
don't
I mean,
forget that.
you just kind of have to. I mean, I don't know how many kids you have, but it's so tough with kids. I mean, you can tell them. I mean, my kids want to have some of the junkier snacks, or you think they're healthy crackers or whatever they are, and you go, these are healthy, and they're not. Um, but you just have to have to lead by example. It's like
Yeah.
mine are teens now, and like I feel like I talk about food and exercise every day that they roll their eyes. They're like, but they listen, and it's like I don't tell them what to eat, but I try and make an example of by what I'm eating, and I let them make their own choices and let them make their own mistakes by grabbing foods that aren't good for
Yeah.
them. And then, sometimes they'll ask me, how come you don't eat it? I said, I just doesn't make me feel good. Like, how did you
No.
feel good after? And sometimes they'll go, yeah, you're right. I tasted good, but now I have a stomach ache, or I just kind of feel sluggish, or whatever it is. And eventually over time, when they see you, the way you eat and the way that you exercise, it sinks in. It really does. And they just all of a sudden it'll just be like ingrained in them, and then they'll just make those choices.
And then I'm sure seeing your following and the connections that you've made and the interactions you've had, they've been like, I think mom probably knows what she's talking about.
Right.
And
They
your
do.
husband's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
active too. I've seen him on the channel as well.
Who's that?
Um, your husband.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so that's actually really cool that you guys get to do that together. I saw the
We
single
push
leg.
each other.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah.
But getting up from a seated position, single leg, the
Yeah.
two of you doing that. So I was like, oh, I gotta try it. And I did it, but it was I was like, all right, I gotta work on this more because I'm not used to
Well, I
that
mean,
particular
sometimes
move.
I'm pushing him, sometimes he's pushing me, but I like to challenge him because my husband's younger than me. My husband's your age, and sometimes I like, I mean, I tease him and I'll say, "Let me see you do that," and he'll go, "I can do that," and he'll try it, and he'll go, "I I honestly don't know if I can do that." He'll try a few times and then he'll get up, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm older than you, and I can do it, so you gotta work a little harder."
You got to keep up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
like that. I like that. Um, so there was a book that, and I don't know if you've heard this or read this, but it was one of the women I work with. It sent it to me and some other people, called Next Level, kicking through menopause. She was talking about going through menopause
yeah,
and trying to, be active and fit. And she noticed one of the things was the symptoms she's having through menopause. And she's in great shape, doesn't carry really excess body fat or anything like that. She's saying her symptoms are much less than some other people that she knows. Is that something you found? in terms of women going through their menopausal journey and
100%. Once again, it goes back to building muscle, strength training. It helps regulate your hormones for sure. It increases your mood. You're not as moody. It's going to give you more energy. So you're not going to, feel as lethargic. It's going to boost your metabolism. So it can help if you're making healthy food choices to stay lean, and then that's all. Then we go into like the pre-diabetes and the high blood pressure, strength training and the cardio that we should be doing helps all of that.
oh, 100% for, and it's weird as a guy trying to talk to you about menopausal journey for women, because obviously I haven't gone through it.
Yeah.
But one of this is, I felt so bad, and it was kind of an embarrassing story, but a woman that I team taught with in 5th grade, she was going through menopause, which I didn't know at the time. It's not like it comes up in conversation, but I
Yeah.
walked into the classroom, and she won't care if I tell the story, but she's dripping with sweat. I'm like, oh wow, you're really sweating over there. And she's like, Derek, get the on. She's
Bless.
so mad at me. But
Oh, that's so funny.
I didn't know. And
Right.
it's, you want to work with people and help people out. So as much
Yeah.
information out there as possible is helpful.
Well, and there's so much talk about it now. I think even like I feel like the last year or 2 years, every woman's talking about it, and there's so many books out. Because before no one did talk about it. But the interesting thing is that, I tell my husband this too, is men go through it as well, but it's andropause. Like
Yeah.
men's hormones, they start to decrease as they age as well. So I just feel like we don't talk about that at all. So
No.
I mean, like he's going through, and he won't mind me talking about it either, but he's the same age as you. But I mean, he's like, gosh, I don't have as much energy as I used to have, like in my 20s. And it's like, his muscle mass, I mean, he still has muscle, but it's like, it's harder, to maintain it. He's got to work harder, and he's got to eat a little bit less. And he's be a little more mindful with what he puts in his body. And it's like, he's, all of that. It's like in my 20s, I could eat whatever I wanted. Now he feels like he's got to watch everything. So
Yeah.
I don't think it's not just women, men actually have the same thing.
Well, I don't know from where you are, but up here there are commercials on the radio every few seconds about, testosterone
Oh
replacement
yeah.
therapy and all that sort of thing. And I mean,
That's so true. Yes.
they're they're pushing that piece really hard.
Yeah.
Which we had a doctor on here a little while ago, and he was explaining how, from the medical point of view, they're expected to treat patients a certain way in the quickest way possible to get some solution through medication or whatever it happens to be. Um, but doing research and everything to raise testosterone, I know in men, it, it's never going to be like what it was in your 20s. It's a lot harder, but eating well, getting enough sleep, exercising, building muscle, all those things just naturally increase it. And a lot of people stop doing that, and you're aging. So the two things together kind of make it
Exactly.
more
It's not,
difficult.
it's the same with men and women. It's not just because we hit menopause and our hormone levels are decreasing. It's because we're slowing down as we age, a lot of us. I mean,
Yeah.
physically, we're just slowing down because you're busier at work and you have less time for yourself and you have kids. So you spend less time on yourself, exercising and moving. We're sitting longer with desk jobs or just anything in general. I mean,
Yeah.
we have remotes for TV, for TV remote. Everything's electronic. So
Yes.
we're
You
just
can
moving
just
our
talk
bodies
to
less.
Alexa and she tells you what to
Yeah.
do.
It's like we're just moving less. I just feel like, you go to an airport. We just came landed at an airport yesterday, but you watch people, you can take stairs or now it's escalators. Like everyone takes an escalator. You can
Yeah.
take stairs. It's like we're so like programmed to not move as much anymore. So it's not just the hormones that are going down. It's just like we're eating differently, we're moving less, and we
And
just have to
and
be
you
more
think about a
intentional.
kid too. Have you ever seen a kid on an escalator? They don't go up the right one. They go up the down and sprint as fast as they can. So even
Yeah,
the
yeah,
escalator, they're
yeah,
trying to get exercise
yeah,
on.
yeah, exactly.
So
I mean, when you can even see it when you go to a park, though. I mean, I go to a park to work out, and there's so many times when it's beautiful outside, and I'll look around and go, "There's nobody here." Like I don't.
yeah.
It's like parks, like is a perfect place. You don't need to be in a gym. If it's nice outside, get outdoors. You can do a full workout in a park with a
Do
bench.
you do a lot of the calisthenic workouts, park workouts, things like that
A
when it's
lot.
nice?
I do a lot. Yes,
That's
I don't just focus on strength training. I think it's really important, especially as we age, but start when you're younger so you build that habit. A lot of mobility exercises, a lot of flexibility, and a lot of balance. So I integrate that into all of my workouts for me and for clients. In between exercises, I do a lot of mobility exercises, and I do them 5 days a week.
That's awesome. And
Yeah.
as we talked about earlier, like your goals kind of change. Just for me, with it was probably a week ago, I switched a lot of the resistance training strictly to add in mobility stuff, calisthenic work, pull-ups, push-ups, just variations of just single leg squats with no weight and just
Right, right, right.
movement.
Yes.
As I get old, I want to play basketball still. I want to be active. I want to do mud runs and those sort of things. And
Yeah.
uh, you get really good at one movement and one plane, but if you're not, trying to get your body to do something else, it gets stiff.
Right. And I think you might be like my husband. I think, like you said, just different seasons have you changed your mindset of your workouts and stuff. I think it's like as he ages too, it's in his mind, he's like, he's a golfer. He played basketball, he played football, he played all the sports. In his mind, he wants to play those still, but he's changed his workout too because more for prevention of injury. He'll go to
Yes.
push something heavy and then he realizes, oh my gosh, my shoulder's so sore. And he's really integrated a lot of like mobility, flexibility, stretching exercises just so he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
And I think
Oh,
that's really important. It's like you're not trying to compete in a bodybuilding competition. You want to maintain your muscle, but maybe ease back a little bit on the weight and add more mobility and flexibility exercises.
yeah, even higher reps and adjust the speed of your reps or
Yes.
the
Yeah.
range of motion. I think a lot of times too that people get stuck in the mindset I have to lift a ton of weight, but then their range of motion goes way down. They're not
Yeah.
getting a full stretch on the muscle and the form goes to crap. So
Right.
it's so much more beneficial to focus on the movement as opposed to the number on the weight.
I
So
totally agree.
that's
And I think even sometimes when you just do like you said, a body weight exercise and you slow it down or just hold a position, I mean, it could be super challenging. So, I mean, I have a lot of, workouts for women, obviously, especially beginners when they first start, they might say, I've worked out in the past and I'm not just a beginner, but I haven't worked out in a while, but I'll give them like just simple, basic foundational body weight exercises that will feel challenging. If you do them with correct form and you slow them down, it's like you can get a fantastic workout just using body weight.
absolutely. The worst I've ever felt after a workout or the most sore was the Murph challenge. I don't know if you're familiar with
I've
that.
heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's 300 air squats, 200
Yeah.
push-ups, 100 pull-ups. No weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some people who do it with a weighted vest or something like that.
Right.
I couldn't walk
Right.
afterwards. You have to run a mile at the start and the end, but like it's all body weight and
Right.
it's exhausting.
I mean, look at that. I mean, you only did 3 exercises.
Yeah,
I mean, you could cut that down. I mean, I'm in my bedroom right now. You can stand next to your bed and just, do 15, 20 squats, 20 push-ups on your knees or on the edge of your bed and whatever else it was that you did. But 3 exercises, I mean, you can be done in 10, 15 minutes and get a great workout. So you don't need a lot of time. You don't need equipment.
absolutely. I think it's important. We've talked about it a few times, setting your floor and setting your ceiling. And there are days where you might not have the energy, you might not have the time, or just you're off. And we all have those days, but hit whatever your floor is. Maybe it's 5 minutes of squats, push-ups, pull-ups, or sit-ups, or whatever, and you're just going to go hard for 5 minutes. And
Right.
maybe that's all you have that day.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
better
I
than
mean, sometimes 5 minutes doing something like that feels like 20. You're like, oh my
that's
God.
true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
So if you had your choice, let's say not worrying about like certain mobility exercise or anything like fun. If you had a fun active day, what would that look like for you? And you can go anywhere in the world for this fun active day. Like, is this something you like to go for a hike or do you want to go paddle boarding or is there?
You know what? Probably what we just actually came back from holidays yesterday. We were in Belize. We went to Belize for the first time ever,
Wow.
and we did a workout outdoors, my husband and I, on the beach. And I hate being cold, so I love the sun.
Yeah.
I like being warm, and it wasn't hot. It was perfect. And we just used, some beach chairs. So for me, it would be like an outdoor, like a quick, say 20, 30 minute the most workout where we're doing some foundational exercise like some squats, push-ups, whatever. And then sprinting in the sand. Like it's just I don't do like long cardio workouts anymore. I used to teach spinning, and I love, like, I'm an adrenaline junkie. I love the high of the like spinning and high intensity cardio, but I don't do long bouts of it anymore. I do short. So, we might sprint in the sand for like do a 10-second sprint and then rest for 20 seconds and a 10-second sprint and rest for 20 seconds, like 10, 15 times. I mean, that feels like an hour.
Oh, it's exhausting.
I
It's
mean,
but it's such a good
yeah,
workout.
it's to me, and that's like when people say I don't have energy, or where do you get to energy to work out? Energy begets energy. And like once you start moving, and if you just tell yourself, I'm just going to do 5 minutes, whether it's a walk and then you take it into a brisk walk and then stroll and then brisk walk, you, I mean, 100% for sure you'll feel better after. So
Oh,
if you just get your body moving, I mean, I love that. I love doing a quick workout and just like breathing really hard and sweating and going, okay, we only did 15 minutes, but I feel amazing. I'm so
yeah.
glad I did it. I've never ever said, oh, I just wish we didn't do that. Like, you always feel better.
So you don't need an hour or two in the gym.
No, no. I don't even have to, I honestly have to, I don't even have time to do an hour or two in the gym anymore. But I mean, I love it so much because it makes me feel so good. I could be in the gym all day. And I tell
Yeah.
my husband and kids, if I didn't have kids and I wasn't married, I literally could be a gym rat and be in the gym all day because I love it. I like trying new equipment. I love the atmosphere and the energy and all of that. But I mean, I'm so busy, and I'm coaching my clients. So for me, my own personal workout takes about, most days they say about 35 minutes, 40. Sometimes on the weekend, if my husband and I do something together, we might do an hour workout together, but might be a little distracted. If we really set, our mind to it and didn't stand around and talk a little bit, it might be 35, 40 minutes. And then if I film something, I might film 2 or 3 exercises that I did of my workout, which is going to take a little extra time. But my workout really only takes 35 minutes.
And is that daily for you?
I like to exercise 6 days a week, but there are some days that I only have 10 minutes. Like we talked about before. I mean, we've been busy lately, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know I'm busy today and I've got an appointment to be here and I've got to be there, and I'm going to carve out like 10 minutes somewhere, 50, whatever, 15 minutes. So it could be a lunch. It could be after dinner. I might go, okay, I'm going for a long walk, and I might stop at the end of the street at a park or an empty lot. And I might do some mountain climbers and some jumping lunges, something. But I always do something.
So from what I'm getting from you, it's far more important to just be consistent and active. It doesn't, the programming, while it's important, isn't the most important piece of this. It's getting moving, getting active.
I just think you need to try and everyone's lifestyle is
Yeah.
different. And I think we're just all so busy now that, just for me, the most important thing, I think, if everyone can keep this in mind, to be consistent, just do something. So if you don't know where to start and you're like, well, I don't have a program or a plan, do I have to do upper body, lower body, back and chest? Like, it's so, overwhelming, I think, for most women to think of, like, to write it down. And if you just did something and made a plan every single day, right on your calendar, Monday through Saturday, give yourself Sunday off or whatever, every other day. Start off with every other day, and just schedule out 10 minutes, and I'm going to do 10 minutes here. And I guarantee you that 10 minutes will turn into 15, because you're going to feel so good. You'll get distracted and go, oh, I did 15. If you could do that 3 or 4 days a week, eventually that'll snowball and it'll be 20 minutes, and you'll feel so good when you miss a day, you won't want to miss a day.
Yeah.
And those 3 days will turn into 4 days, and you might just feel like doing it every day, because there's
Yeah.
no reason you can't move every day.
I think that's what it turns into is a lot of people have the fear of starting because they're overwhelmed, and it's like, well, I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to do it tomorrow, or I only have 10 minutes. I can't do my whole workout, so I'm just going to skip it. It's so much more beneficial to be consistent, even if it's 10 minutes, and
100%.
just start doing something.
That's true. And you know what? I mean, to even simplify it more, if you just started off walking more,
Yeah.
I mean, walking is so underrated. People go, well, I'm not really doing anything and I'm not really like building muscle. I'm not sweating. I mean, if you just actually, you can do it in your house, but if you can get outside, and even if it's cold out, dress for the weather and go outside and just walk for 10 minutes and just do it brisk enough so you're breathing a little bit hard, you're going to feel better. And that's
Yeah.
just to start there. Just to, it's you're getting your blood circulating, you're getting oxygen in. I mean, you're on your feet, so you're not sitting anymore. So you're actually, working your muscles, and you're being more mobile, just that is a start. And so if you could just even do that 3 to 5 days a week, I mean, that you would see huge improvements in how you feel.
I like that you say, and I like just thinking while you're talking there, if people are starting off, I feel like there are four simple things they could do that will have a huge impact on their life. Eat a little cleaner. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just be cognizant of the food that you're eating. Sleep 7 hours a night, drink enough water, and just move every day. If you're consistent with those, you feel so much better.
So much better. That's why I'm saying it, because there's so much information out there. I mean, I can look on Instagram and scroll, and like I get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I mean, especially if you get on a fitness page, which is, if that's what you're looking at, that's what's going to pop up, right?
Oh, yeah.
I can see how I get overwhelmed sometimes. There's so much information out there, and you don't doesn't need to be that complicated. Really, you just need to start off walking. When you look at your plate, you don't have to overcomplicate it with like what you can eat and like things that are in the food. Just everyone knows what healthy food is. I mean, when I don't know how to eat, yes, you do. We know what healthy food is and what's not healthy. So just choose healthier food. And if you're trying to lose some extra body fat, just don't even worry about calculating calories. Just cut down your portions. You don't
Yeah.
have to figure out number wise. If you just actually looked at your plate and said, I normally eat this amount, I'm going to start off for the next couple weeks just cutting out an eighth of my food on my plate. Every meal I have, and put it away and just eat that and focus on foods that are going to fill you up, like protein and healthy fats. Like you said, drink enough water.
Yep.
And when you're moving, you're going to sleep better. So you're getting some sunshine and some extra movement. You're going to sleep better at night. And when you're making healthier food choices, you're going to sleep better at night. And you're going to notice how much better you feel. That it's, once again, that's going to snowball. And you're going to be inspired to go, I'm moving more. I want to eat better. Like,
Yeah. And
so
you're like so many benefits. Your stress levels go down, your cognition gets better, you're happier. Like there are just so many side effects to putting a little extra effort in. And I feel like people talk about, I don't want to sacrifice this, I don't want to give up this, and they don't realize you're you're always sacrificing something. If you want to eat a cheesecake, you're sacrificing feeling good later on. Or if you want to, like some people don't want to give up alcohol, and you don't have to. Um, but some people are like, well, I need my 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night. And it's like, I don't want to give that up, but you're giving something else up. Or you might not get as good night's sleep, or
100%.
so
That's
it's
so
what are
true.
you going to
It's
sacrifice? What do you want to give up? And you don't even have to look at it like that. It's like, I want to feel good. I want to sleep well. I want to be happy, like all those things. And you just,
Yeah,
you feed your
I
body
think you
hard.
need to put value on like what's the most value to you. Like if you value having 3 glasses of wine every night and that's like the most important thing to you, like you don't want to give it up, don't give it up. Like you said, you're
Yeah.
sacrificing something down the road. For me, I think just exercising and eating right and just keeping my body moving is I'm thinking about future. I mean, especially as you age, 61, like you were in the 20s, 30s, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to live forever and I can do this forever. But you start to, and I see my mom, you start to get older and you start counting your years and like, I mean, I don't want to be in a nursing home. I don't want to not be able to walk. I want to keep doing the things like your mom that I enjoy doing. I want to enjoy my
Yeah.
grandchildren and my kids. It's more like for quality of life.
No, 100%. And then you look at, like, it's scary looking at statistics and life expectancy and all that. But if you're obese and don't eat well and you drink a lot and don't exercise, your mid 60s is your life expectancy.
Well, I
Um,
mean, they say what women, if you're 56, you have average women have like 22 years left to live.
yeah,
And you think 22, that doesn't sound like that much. I
no, and it's
mean,
not.
that
But if
goes
you
by
take care
quickly.
of yourself, like look at your mom,
Yeah.
93, and she's going strong.
I
Like
mean, she's gone 20 years past what the life expectancy, kind of almost 20 past what they say, but quality years, not like in a nursing home. And that's like that. And I mean, that is in the back of her mind is she wants to be able to move and do what she wants to do. And she's got, I mean, part of it's genetic, I'm sure, but her cognitive ability is like she can remember things from the 60s and 70s and like small details of things where she'll say, we were driving down the street on this corner. Amazing. But I
when
but I
did
do I
when did
really do attribute some of that is to exercise and the way she lives her life.
Oh, it has to be. When did she start? Was she like you and has been doing it since her 20s?
No, she didn't start my mom did not start exercising like with an actual routine till she was 65.
65.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So it does like it's never too late for
Never too
somebody to
late.
get started.
I mean, she's never had a weight problem, but she was forced, into forced retirement at 65 in Canada, and she just found she had a physical job before that, and she found when she stopped working, she wasn't as active, and she noticed her strength was going downhill. She wasn't as energetic, and she knew she's like, I need to take control of this because I'm losing my strength. So she started going to a gym. She said, I'm going to go to. She started working out in her apartment a little bit, and then she said, maybe I'll go to a gym just to get out of the house, and started watching people at the gym. When she spent time with me, occasionally, because we don't live near each other, I would give a little exercises to do and take home with herself. But that's what it was. I mean, she knew that if she didn't keep moving, she was gonna go downhill really quick. So she's made it a point of working out consistently. And then there's days that she doesn't really want to go. It's snowing and she doesn't really want to get in the cold car, but she knows I've got to keep doing it. I've got to keep this routine up, but it actually, not just physically, but mentally, it helps her so much mentally.
Well, there's a lot of talk about being able to accomplish any task, even like a small thing like getting in the car and getting to the gym is an accomplishment. So
Right.
you feel you feel better, you've got more energy, like you just it's a good way to start the day. And even like the last couple people I had on were talking about just making your bed in the morning is a win to start the day. Like you
Yeah.
literally you don't need anything huge, but you're right. Setting your mind to something and accomplishing it is good.
I
Uh,
mean, you talk about making your bed. It's the same thing. I think it's the same mindset as like we get up in the morning. I think most people do this, get in the morning, they make their bed, you brush your teeth, you just kind of go through the motions of things you've done for so long. And, I had to make my bed as a kid every day or we were in
yeah,
trouble. So I
hospital
get up and do it
corners.
without even thinking, right?
Yeah.
So we should be able to do that. We should do little things like exercise. You get up in the morning, brush your teeth, make your bed. You can start your day right there. Give yourself 10 minutes before you leave your room. Do a few stretches. Get down. I remember seeing my stepdad every single day. He would get up, make his bed, and he would get down on the floor and do like 50 push-ups, like every day, without fail, every single day.
That's
I used to
nice.
always think, man, what's he doing? But like you could do it before you even leave your room. I think you have to carve out time. So when people say they don't have time, I get it. Like we're all so busy and it's like if you don't schedule it, it's like the day can, pass you by like, oh my gosh, I didn't get a workout in. But you need to be intentional and carve that time out for yourself, whenever that is, and try and do it at the same time every day so it becomes a routine. And then just do it without even like making excuses, without, canceling. Make that a priority. And it's not a selfish thing. It's something that's necessary for you and for you to be your best self for your family.
Well, Dallas, I appreciate you so much coming on here. I don't want to take up any more of your time.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I looked down and we're at 50 minutes almost already, and that just flew by. How can people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
They can go to my Instagram page, at fit__mom of seven. And I also have a website, www.fitmomofseven.com as well, where if they want, if they need help, they don't know where to start, I can create them a personalized program with the nutrition. It's simplified just specifically for them. They can I get on a phone call. We do one-on-one phone calls and I work it out with them and get them going.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to put all that stuff in the show notes. But I just really want to thank you and we appreciate you so much taking the time to come.
Thank you, Derek, for inviting me. It was really enjoyable. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And everybody make sure you check out Dallas. She's really good at what she does. So thank you.
Thank you, Derek. Appreciate it.